Good morning, Minu. How are you doing?
Very good morning. I'm good, thank you. And you?
All right, thank you. Okay, Minu, I see so far we have 2 students with us.
Okay, wonderful.
I'm just setting everything up so that we stream to YouTube.
Okay. I have plans to use 2 small videos, which are approximately of 2 minutes. Will it be okay? Because I know this window doesn't get smaller. So could you please help me with that?
Okay. Are you running today's session, Minu?
Yes.
Okay. So when you click share screen,
Yeah.
okay, obviously you won't be able to do it now because I'm sharing my screen. When you select share screen, you'll
Yeah.
select the screen that your video is playing on, and near
Yeah.
the bottom where you will click share,
Yeah.
just to the left of it, there's an option there that says share computer audio. You'll click on that. But when we get to that point, just call me and I will help you with that.
Okay, fine. Okay. I have kept them in the bar and I'm sure it shouldn't be a problem. Yeah. And is there any possibility if learners could participate?
The learners will just have to raise their hand to answer questions. I'll allow them the option to talk, or they're just going to have to access the chat and the Q&A sections.
Yes, that's wonderful. I'm sure. My point was to ask you if they can use that option. It will make our class. Let's see how it will go. I have plans to do that.
Okay. So I'm just battling to get this to stream to YouTube. I'm just muting myself whilst I sort this out.
Okay. Thank you. Morning, Brant. Thank you.
Can you hear me, Minu?
Yes, I can, Brant.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
So far, yeah, we have got 8 participants. So I'll wait for another minute or so. When Warwick will give me green signal, I'll go ahead.
Yeah, that's perfect. I'm just going to try to turn my volume up. Yeah.
So far we have 9 participants. That's wonderful. It's picking up.
Just remember, Minu, 3 of them are you, Brant, and myself.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Just so that you know, I'm having a little bit of issue connecting the live stream to YouTube. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. You guys can go ahead. I'm going to work on this. If need be, I'll pull down the recording at a later stage and upload it for you.
Okay, fine. Wonderful.
All right.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
So I'm going to stop sharing now whilst sort this technical issue out. As soon as if I do get it working, I'll just drop you a message in the chat section.
Okay.
Thanks, Warwick.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Warwick.
All right. And then Minu, when you're ready to share your video, just let me know. I'm here and I'll assist you with getting that working. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Okay. I think I'll start. Warwick, sorry, Brant, is it okay?
Yes, Minu, let's go for it. Let's get it started. Okay. Maybe we can end 5 minutes early.
Yeah, okay. Good day, everyone. I hope all of you can hear me properly. This is our second unit as our MC, Mr. Brant Colin, has already done some of the stuff with you. So I'll just rush through that quickly. and then we'll switch to our today's content part. This is given on ECI as such. I would like you guys to participate for today's class. I've got few questions which you can give on your question and answer, or you can raise your hand if possible. What do you see in this picture? Sorry, my question is, what do you see in this question? Sorry, it seems that Warwick said that there is some trouble. So I'll carry on with my lecture and maybe you can answer these questions at your own. So the simple answer would be some compact and congested houses, which doesn't look like planned ones. So next question would be, what does it depict about people's economic condition? That they belong to lower income group, and it might include gardeners, drivers, or rubbish pickers. Such settlements are called informal settlements, and they are known by various names, like these ones are favelas of Brazil. They're also called juggies or squatter camps. So my next question would be, what name 4 informal settlements of South Africa? Please, you have to find out, and if possible, which is the biggest one. I have prepared Kahoot questions, which you can answer later on. Moving on to next slide. Though Mr. Brandt has done this, I'll just quickly revise it. What do you understand by development? To a layman, it would simply mean change or a new stage in any changing situation. Like for me, going ahead with PhD is a development stage in my life. That is an individual case. Likewise, it can be a community or a country or at the global level also. According to Webster's dictionary, development is defined as the process of growth or of new information or any new event. Development is basically an economic concept with a positive connotation, and it creates growth, progress, positive change, or any addition in physical, economic, social, environmental, or demographic component. I have provided blue links. If you can do self-study with this, it will be of great help to you. Moving on to next slide. Mr. Brandt has done this as well, that is indicators of development, which are broadly classified into economic, demographic, social, and combination of these three. Under economic, he has done GNP, that is gross national product. Then we have GNI, gross national income. Then we have Human Development Index. That means how a country develops its human beings to let them come up to the maximum potential. They provide them good food, education, and good kind of jobs. That's how any country's government can look after its citizens. Then we have Gini coefficient. It simply means how wealth is divided amongst the people of any country. Not everybody can be rich. Some can be poor, some can be middle class, while others can be very rich or rich. Fifth factor is GII, that is Gender Inequality Index. As the word says, gender, it simply identifies how are women of any country treated, what kind of food and nutrition they are being provided. Sorry to say, but there are countries where girls or ladies are undermined. They are not even provided proper food because it's a patriarchal society where men are given importance. So GII identifies that how girls are given education and what kind of job opportunities they have, or what kind of parliament representation they have. Moving on to next one, we have demographic indicators of development, which includes all the factors from population chapter. I hope you still remember that. That is birth rate, death rate, life expectancy, infant mortality rate, maternal mortality rate, that means when mothers die while delivering their babies, or fertility rate. Then I still have kept these two factors, which you might not find on your ECI PowerPoint. You can consider, but you need not to, you can just consider them. That is population growth rate. It depends at what population growth a country is having. For example, if a country is having population growth rate of 2.8, country's population will get doubled within 35 years, which is too much. Then we have population structure, which simply means your population pyramid. I hope all of you still remember that triangular diagram showing men and women ratio of different age groups. Next, we have social indicators, which is food and nutrition. That means what kind of food is being provided. I'm sure you guys are aware of the various kinds of condition where rich people can have quite good food, while poor people or people living in countries like Somalia, they don't get enough nutrition also. Then we have education and level of literacy. Now, literacy, getting literate or having an education level, these are two different things. A level of literacy simply means that can an adult read or write, while your education level can be different. Some people can become doctors after having education, while others can become your engineers, whilst others can stay at normal managerial jobs. Next social indicator is percentage of population living in urban areas. Here I would like to take example of Gauteng province, which has the maximum percentage of population living in urban area as compared to its other 8 provinces. Then we have percentage of population working in primary, secondary, tertiary, or quaternary or quinary sectors of economy. Next factor is daily intake of the calories. What kind of food is provided in any country? Here I would like to share one video. Please be with me. Grant, can you see something?
Nothing on your slide, no. Well, there's nothing in particular at this point. I do want to make some comments once you've gone through the slide, I'll make those comments.
Okay, can you see something?
Menu.
In terms of?
Yes, Warwick.
Click stop sharing your screen, please.
Okay.
Okay. All right, click share again.
Share.
All right.
Okay.
In the top left-hand corner, can you see it says screen 1 or screen? Top left. In the window where it shows you all the different.
Sorry. Can you see something now?
Yes, we can see it. Did you click share computer audio as well, like I said to you earlier?
I did some. You said I didn't press that, but there isn't much of the voice. It's just audio. I mean, just visuals. So that should be good enough. And it's just for 2 minutes.
There's no audio.
There's no
Hey,
audio.
Sam.
Yeah.
But is it properly visible?
Yes,
It's
perfectly.
visible, but no audio.
It has audio, but only I can hear. I'm sorry.
Some lovely pictures there, Mina. It really gets the concept across of development, and to me, the gap between the wealthy and the rich on the planet, and the poor. So when it comes to answering questions and assessments, students need to start to try and think of why, if this concept of development has been around since the United Nations started in 1948, and they've been guiding the world development, we do have to think critically, why are some countries still poor? So why are countries in Africa still poor and countries in South America still poor, but the developed countries have got richer and richer? So why are some countries still developed and others aren't?
Yes, I mean, it is touching various aspects of development, which should click students' mind that not only like saying one word development, what does it means? So it doesn't touch only like the money part, but there are other kinds of development also. The point of showing this video is that.
Yeah, on that note, I want students to, if they're listening live now, I've got a few questions for them to write down in terms of assessment type questions.
Can I carry on, please? Yeah.
Thanks. So students, what we've given you and what you've got so far is the basic theory on development. Now you have to weave this together and make sense of it and apply it to your lives. And don't forget, the ultimate goal of all of this is to bring it into your teaching in 4 years' time. So how do you portray this concept of development? How do you get that into the minds of young children? We're going to be living in a country, in a context where they need to develop. How are you going to get them to understand the concept of development and obviously let them become better people as well? Because it's a theme that runs through all of the subjects. So this is what I want you to write down. First question. You ready? So what is development as a concept? As guys, you need to understand what development is as a concept, but not really pertaining to the stem of the word development and what it means in the English language in terms of human development or social cognitive. Yes, that's development, but specifically in the context of countries. So that's the question. What is development as a concept in terms of countries? What is it? Okay, so straight away you're going to think, I'm not going to elaborate too much because we've done this before, but it's economy, society, environment, better quality of life for all people. Next question. How do we measure this concept of development? You can't really see it. Yes, it is tangible. You can see infrastructure, roads, bridges, stadiums, airports, harbors. But for the most part, other than the infrastructure, can you really see if a country is developing? So are people staying alive for longer? Are they dying? Are there more diseases, infectious diseases? And what is the quality of the environment? So when it comes to how do we measure development, you better know your indicators, your economic indicators, social indicators, the demographics, and your environmental. So things like biodiversity index and the quality of our water, land, etc., and atmosphere.
Yeah,
so
thank you, Brand.
I've just got one more
carry
thing
on, please? Okay.
Just one more, sorry. And then the last question would be, how do we develop? So, and I said that last time, well, how do you think that we actually go about developing our country? So what you do is you take all the development indicators and you try and figure out policies to improve those. So economic, how do we improve economics? Okay, create more job opportunities, more employment, etc. So you take each of the indicators, and this is a tip for the exam and other assessments that could be coming out. If you get that question, you take all the indicators and you figure out how, and you should be starting to do that now, how you can improve the quality of life by designing policies that work on all of those indicators. So one more example, the Human Development Index. Think of what the 3 indexes are. Then you design policies to improve each of those. So how do you live longer? Improve healthcare. How do you improve education? Better schools, more higher education. And then lastly, the economic indicator, GNI per capita, employment, grow the economy. So if you increase all 3 of those indexes, obviously your ranking goes up. There's a tip for the exam.
Yes, that's great. Thank you so much, Brant, for summing up all this. Wonderful. Sorry, Warwick, how should I share my PowerPoint again?
Menu, just click share and then select the screen option, and then you can minimize your YouTube video, and then we'll all see your PowerPoint again.
Okay, I'm trying. Can you see something?
Yep, we can see it now. Just maximize your PowerPoint.
Okay.
And then can you also just put your PowerPoint into presentation mode, please? It becomes a little bit, if you, So click, you see this zoom slider near the bottom right hand corner of your screen?
Zooms, sorry.
Slider, bottom right hand corner. Yeah. Okay, just below that, can you see it looks like a pull down screen?
Yeah, yeah. Sorry,
Okay, just open up PowerPoint again.
okay. Yeah,
Okay. All right, easiest way, Minu, go to view on the top ribbon there. View.
yeah, yeah.
No, that's not
Okay, view. No,
view.
I
It's
can't
called
see.
view. Okay,
I can't
Minu.
see.
All right, just carry on as it is there. I'll show you another time how to put it into presentation mode.
Okay, so, okay, fine. I'll carry on. Thank you. This slide, which shows indicators of development, is the summary of your chapter 10 from Rubinstein. It's just a tabular form which helps you to put everything in nutshell that what all needs to be covered under development topic. I have definitions, but I wouldn't go through them very thoroughly because Mr. Brandt has already done that. Here's the next one. The very first economic indicator is GNP. That means how much of money is earned in any particular country, whether it is by selling goods or services. Then we have GNI, which is a combination of GDP and import money minus and export. Then we have Human Development Index. As I said earlier, it means how human beings of any particular country are developed to the most of their potential. These include statistical formulas to get calculations done. It ranges between 0 to 1. 1 means most developed, which most of the European countries are going ahead with, while African countries are still lagging behind. Their value is between 0.2 to 0.5. Then we have Gini coefficient, which, as I said, which states how the money in any particular country is shared amongst its citizens. It ranges from 0 to 1, and 1 means the complete inequality, which is not possible. Likewise, 0 means complete equality. That means everybody is rich. That is also not possible. So it ranges between 0 to 1. Next, we have gender inequality index. This I have done already, that how ladies of any particular country or girl child of any particular country treated, what kind of education, what kind of food and nutrition, what kind of job opportunities or political representation is given to them. Moving on to next slide. This map shows Human Development Index of whole of the world. Now, wherever you can see darker shades of green, that means people are very well taken care by their government. You can see whole of the USA. Then we have Europe and Australia, darker shades, while the lighter shades of white or gray, they show that people are still battling to come up to their maximum potential. World HDI is somewhere nearby 0.64, while South Africa has come up to 113th rank out of 193 countries counted by UN, that is United Nations. Moving on to demographic factors, which included birth rate. That means how many babies are born per 1,000 of the population per year. Now, developing countries having their conventional thinking believe in more heads and hands. Resultantly, they produce more and more babies. They don't have medical, technical know-how and no family planning, no idea about contraception. We still have such countries, believe me. As a result, they believe in having 8 to 10 babies, or even sometimes less or more, while developed countries like European countries or Australia, they go for 1 or 2 kids. Moving on to next point, that is death rate. Now, death rate it means how many people die per 1,000 population per year. Now, how is that leading to development? If we consider the cause of the death, that how did a person die? Was it a natural death or was it due to illness? If illness was there, wasn't he taken care by the medicines or the technology or by surgery? So now all these factors help in determining the development of any country. Next factor we have infant mortality. That means a child dying before the age of 1 year. See, a child has taken birth and he should have happy life provided his parents are taking care of him nicely or not. It's not possible every time. Sometimes due to various reasons, a child might die due to one or the other factor, which gets counted under infant mortality rate. And it gets measured or it gets counted by government. To an individual, it might not be that much, but government keeps an account of all these factors. Next, we have people per doctor. How many people are there going to one doctor is a very good indicator of development. It indicates that how much money is available in a country for the training and recruitment of doctors, and how does it help in the well-being of the citizen. Next factor we have literacy rate. As I said earlier, how many adults can read and write? That is literacy rate, while education level teaches them how to think what is right or what is wrong. Moving on to next one. That is access to safe water. That means what percentage of people are having access to safe and safe drinking water, which is free from bacteria or parasite. Now, according to water.org, ladies in LEDCs, that is low economically developed countries, they have to spend 5 to 7 hours going and fetching water on their head in jars or in containers. Okay, that's their lifestyle for just for drinking. It says that 780 million people lack access to safe water. Out of that, 3.4 million die every year because of the waterborne diseases like cholera. Next, we have life expectancy. The average age of a person can expect to live from birth to death. That is, for African countries, it is ranging in 50s, while for European countries and Japan, it's in 80s or 90s. That shows that the food security or the quality of water or shelter or medical care, what kind of facilities are provided in that country. This map shows gross national income and purchasing power parity. Now, as the previous map said, this one is also quite similar. Greener shades show that people are rich, they have more gross national income, and their purchasing power parity is also more, just opposite to the whiter or the grayish shades. This much you have already done. Now, I'll start off with today's content. I'm sorry, I've taken a little more time. Okay. Now, for today's content, we have factors affecting development. How would you say any particular country would lead to development? Firstly, it should have resources. Resources in terms of land, minerals, or some kind of energy resources. Okay, if any country doesn't have it, how can it lead to development? They have to import those resources. If they can't import because they don't have money, they have to ask for aid or help or donation from UN or the organizations like that. Second factor is energy. Now, how do we get energy? Is it only LPG, coal, petroleum, or petrol, diesel? No, we have, besides these, we have your animal power, which gives us energy. Like in poorer countries, we still use plows. Plows are the instrument with which land is dug, and then seeds are grown. Next, we have history. How does history affect any country's development? See, we believe that whatever history we have, it impacts not only your present, but it impacts your future also. So how, for example, I'll take example of South Africa here. South Africa was under colonizers for quite some time. So they used its resources. Some of them, they might have misused or exploited its resources. It happened to most of the countries of the world because people from Europe and from USA, they had come to various parts of the world, and they were exploring. Actually, they were exploring, but while doing so, they developed some of the resources but misused some of the other resources. Then we have fourth factor is trade imbalance. It's a pure economics term. When we say trade money is getting imbalanced, how does that happen? When import money is less than export money, it leads to trade imbalance. That means you are sending more money out while you're not getting that much money back to your own country. Of course, it will lead to an imbalance. Next, we have population growth. How would that lead to development? It simply means if your independent population is more, that means population from 18 to 65 years, those who are working and producing some sort of work and getting some money, that if they are more as compared to your dependent population, that means under 18 and above 65. Under 18, we consider them kids or teenagers or young adults, while above 65, we consider them as grown-ups or old age people. Those who are dependent on the independent population, which ranges from 18 to 65. So it depends on the population pyramid. You can just having a look, you can make it out. Is it this country developing or not developing? So that's how experts can easily make it out. Moving on to next one, that is education and training. Now, countries like Singapore, they are doing lots of research. Though it's a small country, doesn't have many resources, but they are doing very well. How is that possible? They have given their resources to the industries which are busy with quaternary or quinary kind of sectors of economy. Next, we have natural resource limitation. When we say natural resource limitation, I'll again take example of some of the island countries where they don't have their own natural resources, but still, in case they have to develop, they import those resources or develop industries which does not need your raw resources like coal or your wood kind of stuff. Then we have, okay, whole of the development factors are being discussed, but when we are doing or using these resources, it leads to one or the other kind of environmental degradation. In simple terms, it leads to pollution. It can be land pollution, water pollution, air pollution, okay? So that's why before establishing any industry, we need to have environmental impact assessment, that is EIA. Every industry has to get the green signal from EIA to get established. Otherwise, that is not possible. That means otherwise development is not possible. Let's move on to next slide. Yeah. This slide talks about economic sectors of any country. We are going to take example of South Africa. So when we say economics, it simply means how money is earned or how it is spent. Now, some people are busy with primary activities. I call them H&M. It's not that famous shop, but it's your hunting and mining. And 3 Fs are your fishing, farming, and forestry. So people, those who are involved in this, they are considered working in primary sector. And any of the country which has more people busy with primary sector would not be still considered developed. It is still considered LEDC or developing country. Okay. Next we have secondary sector. Whatever we have extracted from the nature in primary sector, if it gets processed, that becomes your secondary industry. That means if tuna fish is being fished, if it gets canned into a tin, then it becomes a secondary industry. That is manufacturing of sawmills or your motor assembly. Then we have tertiary sector, which basically includes services, sales, professionals like teachers, lecturers. Latest two economic sectors are quaternary and quinary. Quaternary one is the complex processing and handling of information. It includes Mr. Warwick, IT sector, and education and research and engineering. Our next sector of economy is quinary, which includes highest level of decision making in society, like Prime Minister, President, or top executives of any of the institutions. I hope things are clear. I would love to show you guys more videos, but I'm falling short of time, so I'll go ahead. This slide shows Brant line. During 1980s, world was divided into North and South, which simply according to economics, which simply meant that North is more developed, while South is less developed. Now, North does include Australia and New Zealand. Please be careful. This was a line based on the economic calculation. They made that, okay, the greener part, which is shown here, that is less economically developed, while the upper part, that is the north one, is more economically developed countries. That's how we got the words LEDC and MEDC. Now, same countries can be given different names like rich or first world or industrialized nation, while developing countries are called non-industrialized or low income or the South. Whenever you are going through any comprehension, if these words are used, don't get confused. They simply mean developing or developed countries. Okay, they are also called the haves and have-nots, LEDC, MEDCs. Now, if any country is developed, their HDI, that is Human Development Index, is nearly 0.8%, while for developing countries, it is below or equivalent to 5. Okay. Moving on to next slide. Sustainable development in our Bill of Right. Yeah. According to South African Constitution, sustainable development is our right. Can you believe it? It's so good that a country has put such thing in their constitution. It simply means everyone has the right to an environment that is not harmful to their health or their well-being. Then it should have environment protected for the benefits of future and present generations through the reasonable laws. That's why we make laws, that we should not spoil our wet water lands. Then we have prevent pollution and ecological degradation. Then we have promote conservation. That's why we have shark conservatory nearby KZN area. Then we have secure ecological sustainable development and the use of natural resources while promoting justifiable economic and social development. I'm sure these words are making sense to you. Moving on to next slide. Here we have goals of sustainable development, which are given by United Nations. These are 17 goals. All the 193 members of United Nations, they are striving to attain these. Not everybody has reached 100%. Some are at 20, some are at 50, while others have reached 70%. Okay, so they say no poverty. Okay, then we have zero hunger. Then we have good health and well-being. Fourth one is quality education. Then we have gender equality. Now, gender equality, as I have talked earlier, I'll just give you one example here. Countries like Saudi Arabia, they have recently allowed their women drivers to start driving at the age of 40. It happened just, I think, 4 or 5 years ago. So do we have gender equality? Okay, you have to think over it. Moving on to next one, clean water and sanitation. I would like to give you an example of one of the headlines which I read recently, that a 8-year-old child fell into the pit toilet and died. Do we have sanitation facilities available? Sorry. Moving on to the seventh one, that is affordable and clean energy. Next is decent work and economic growth to whole of the population. It will be a big challenge to every country, but we are trying for it. So decent work is they should be able to earn their livelihood and have normal facilities available to them in terms of food, shelter, water, sanitation. Then we have industry, innovation and infrastructure. If any country is at the developing pace or at the level, they will be having some surplus money which they use for making more and more infrastructure. When we say infrastructure, that means making highways, building more hospitals, providing better facilities to the hospitals or libraries or community centers. Then next goal is reduce inequality, whether it is in terms of gender, in terms of salary, in terms of area. Then we have sustainable city and communities. Now, one of the senior professor of UCT, he has come up with the idea of solar energy, and whole of his house runs only on solar energy. Whether it is his car or his geyser or his gas, everything is working with the help of solar energy. I wish this could happen to whole of the Cape Town or whole of South Africa. Then we have responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water that needs to be saved and conserved, life on land, human beings and animals. That's why we are indoors for past 2 months. Peace, justice, and strong institutions. Last one is partnership. All these 17 goals cannot be attained by any individual or any single country, so we need to join hands and be partners. Warwick, do we have time to go further?
Hi, Manu, we've only got 2 minutes left of this session.
Okay, and I have few slides. Okay, I'll just quickly finish this. Now, when we say development, it would not only means that whole of the world will get developed in one go. No, it starts from local level. Then we have regions. Then we can think of global context. When we say local level of development, it means one individual, or maybe at small scales, we include group of people or neighborhood or village or suburbs. When we say region, that means it has some kind of similarity which distinguishes them from other areas. It can be a climate region or a natural region or a economic political region like European Unions or SADC. SADC is South African Development Community, which includes 15 South African countries. I'll show you in the next slide. Then SADC have made some of the objective, how can it leads to development? They say development, economic growth, poverty alleviation, improve standards and quality of life, self-sustaining development, maximizing employment, and regional resource use. That's why people from Zimbabwe, Botswana, they are allowed to come to South Africa, work here, and send money to their country. Integrate the Southern African region, allowing free movement of people, capital, labor, goods and services. Integrate technology with development. Whatever good technology South Africa has, it will give it to its neighboring countries. That kind of pact they have made. So this figure here, it shows the SADC countries, while this one shows natural vegetation of the world. We have tundra and taiga. That's another way of classifying whole of the world. If we talk in terms of heat zones or regions, then it is torrid zone between two tropics, Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, while beyond that we have temperate and frigid zone. With this, I think I still have further. Next
Minu,
slide.
Yeah.
sorry, I'm going to have
Thanks.
to end you off now because we passed the time and I need to get ready for the next session.
Sure. Thank you, Warwick.
Okay, thank you very much. All right.
Pleasure.
To those who are watching, please can you just put an apology out to the to your fellow students about the sharing live to YouTube? We are working on it, and it's not just on my side; it's on all, even different YouTube channels. There might be a problem with Zoom, but we will get it rectified, and we'll try to get up a YouTube video of this session as soon as we can. Thank
Okay,
you.
Warwick, on that note, so what you're saying is that it will be recorded and put on ECR, but just at a later stage, not within the next 24 hours.
That is correct. It might
Okay.
be within the next 1 hour, it might be within the next 48 hours, but it will
Okay.
happen.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I just conclude that session? Thank you very much, Minu. That was, yeah, well done. Very nice. And guys, we don't have much more left on development. In the next lecture, I'm going to conclude on it and go over some important things and give you some more tips on questions and how to answer them. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Minu.
Pleasure, Brand.